Boys and girls, ladies and gents, welcome to another episode of Clutch Conversations. It's your boy Mike, back at you one more again on another Thursday night. This is another pre-recorded episode. It is Thursday, November 24th. We didn't do a live episode tonight so that our guests and others can be with their families, but we gotta keep on going. We gotta keep pushing. The show must go on. So we do have a pre-recorded episode for you tonight. Before we get into the show, if this is your first time in the chat, be sure to hit that like, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and hook smash that notification bell. And I'm not talking about smart hook smash, not that weak hook stuff. I'm talking about like Edward Norton, like next level hook, damn near World War hook. Smash that notification bell because we want you to get your notifications. We want to make sure everything is copacetic. So definitely hit that notification bell so you can get the notifications for all the episodes of Clutch Conversations that we drop. We drop Clutch Conversations every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure you sign up for those notifications so you don't miss an episode. Really appreciate all the support. Speaking of support, make sure if you're involved in this hobby in any shape, form, or fashion, be sure to be out there supporting U.S. Art and U.S. Art Florida. The link for both of those organizations is in the description. I appreciate each and every person coming out every Thursday night, showing love for the show. I appreciate all the feedback. Y'all just don't know how much I appreciate the feedback. Definitely keep it coming. I really appreciate everybody reaching out to us, all the DMs. Tell us how you like the show. If you don't like the show, tell us something you don't like. You know what I'm saying? Like we always trying to growth and development. But I definitely appreciate the feedback. It lets me know that you are paying attention to the show. It lets me know that you are supporting us out there, and you definitely taking an active role in the success of the show. So I really appreciate it. I appreciate all the growth. I appreciate all the feedback. I appreciate everything y'all do each and every week. Tonight's show is going to be a dope show. I promise you how I know it's a dope show because we already recorded it. But we got Mary Sydney Furnish from MSB Reptiles coming to the show. Without further ado, we're going to get right over to the show. But again, thank y'all for coming out. Hey, what's up? How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing well. Appreciate you coming out tonight.
Well, thanks for having me.
Oh, no problem. Been looking forward to this all week. So, real quick, for those who may not know, do a real quick introduction of yourself, and I'm gonna throw you a curveball right out the gate. So, tell us a little bit about yourself outside of reptiles.
All right. I'm Miri, or otherwise known as Sydney to some. I own MSB Reptiles. I mostly work with ball pythons, but I'm moving into the colubrid world and a bunch of
nice.
But yeah.
And so you say you're moving into colubrids too?
Yeah, I absolutely love doing the more rare species. But I'm like I said, mainly working with the ball pythons, but trying to work with more of like a collection and focusing more on my more personable collection. So
gotcha. So what do you do outside of the reptiles?
I bartend 4 days a week, which is exciting in itself, but that is a full-time job, and this is a full-time job, and I am always busy.
Yeah. We were chatting a little bit before the show backstage, and I was telling you I worked in restaurants for a little bit, and that was fun. Like I had a ton of fun working in restaurants. Like it was kind of like it was a lot of work. It was stressful, but it was also kind of like a party at the same time. Exactly. Is that how it is for you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't consider it a job at all. It's more fun than anything, and I very much enjoy it.
I met a lot of lifelong friends in that industry too.
You meet all kinds of people.
Yeah, I got some stories. I won't get into them now, but I got some stories. Yeah, like one real quick story. I won't go into too much detail, but I remember like when I first started doing it, like I was working at this local steakhouse, and I went to a party, and I thought it was just gonna be like a regular party. I was probably like 20 or so at the time. Went to a party, and like it was like a movie. It was like only stuff that I had seen on movies. It was like pretty much everything that you can think of was there, and I was like, "Damn, this is crazy." But I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun.
I wouldn't change.
Probably too much fun.
Yeah, always get into it at the end of the night. You're like, I'll just have one after this really stressful night, and then
Oh yeah.
partier at the
Oh yeah. Then one turns into many. It turns into seeing kids get on the school bus the next day.
end.
Fun times, fun times. So, how long have you been in the reptiles?
Most of my life,
Okay.
professionally breeder since 2015 or so. So
Okay. Okay.
good bit of time. Yeah.
So, have you just been focusing on ball pythons, in terms of breeding, or did you do some other ones kind of in the middle as well?
I started with colubrids like king snakes and corn snakes when I was a lot younger. I got my first snake right around when I was about 7 years old. I had him up until this year, actually, my first snake, and he just recently passed away. But made my way into the ball pythons, and then when I bought out the Monarch project from Rants, that's when it got pretty serious, and that kind of exploded. So mostly ball pythons for the time being, but getting into more rare and fun species, so to speak.
Okay, so I definitely wanted to get into the monarch,
Hmm.
but before you were doing the monarch, what projects were you primarily focused on? Like you had to say you had a perennial project. What was that project?
There wasn't anything that I would say super special. I like a lot of people. I mainly liked the pieds, the clowns. I was really into Exanthic when that was like a $10,000 project when it first started. Oh man, I need a zebra bee, and I had finally gotten one. I'm like, I want to work with these a lot, but I ended up not breeding any Exanthic. My first Exanthic clutch ever actually just hatched this past season,
Oh,
and it
word.
was weird. So, but I went full bore into the Monarch project as soon as I got it, and that's what I've been putting into everything. But now I'm starting to really focus on newer genes and get into other things.
So, talk a little bit about kind of your acquisition of the monarch project and kind of what all went into that and how that came about.
Okay. I first saw Monarch posted on Morph Market. That was when Rants was really big into selling a lot of his single gene monarchs. I went to visit him in 2017, I believe it was. I'm terrible with dates. So if I say something all weird, yeah, I'm absolutely terrible with it. I went to go
It'd be like
visit
that sometimes.
him in Oklahoma to see, and I held my first monarch. I had never held one at a show before or anything, but I fell in love with it, and he ended up putting. I told him this. I'm like, this is my girl. I need to get this pastel monarch, and I was so excited. I'm like, I'll be able to afford her in so and so months, and he never sold her. He actually kept a tag with my name on it on
Oh,
her tub
nice.
for the whole time, and then I eventually just ended up buying him out like a year and a half later, but he still had that snake and he hadn't sold it, which was I thought was the coolest thing. Um, but I absolutely love T positive albino genes. No matter what it is, if I see that in another animal and I don't like immediately recognize that it's a T positive, I'm just always attracted to that gene. I don't know why. But Monarch was definitely something that I was destined to have and goal oriented to have. So yeah, that's why I bought him out when I had the opportunity. And I was very happy about it. I was absolutely ecstatic. I was probably the happiest person on the planet that day. Nobody else could have been.
So, how many animals were in that project in that pickup?
Around 100, I
Oh,
believe.
wow.
I remember correctly. Yeah, it wasn't all. There were a couple extras. I also got Ultramel out of that. He had a couple in there.
Team
The
Ultramel.
trying to prove out to see if that line was the same. So yeah, it was a really nice buyout. I have a lot of visuals, a lot.
Okay, okay. And so, what's the what direction are you trying to go with the monarch project?
Dark. I have always been a huge fan of the purple burgundy color in Monarch, and I've been selectively breeding the single genes. Like I love single gene Monarch. It can't be beat by anything else other than I'd say like Blackhead adding to it. But so I continually try to be able to have those available for people. to get into the project rather than a bunch of different if they want to go their own route with projects. But I like dark. I have it going into the Batman complex and all that. I have it in Blackhead, Clown, Pied,
Oh, nice.
Cypress. Every time I get asked this question, my mind goes blank. But I have I have it in
Edited everything.
yeah.
Nice, nice. Yeah. So admittedly, and forgive my ignorance, can you explain the difference between T positive and T negative? Like those are terms like I hear all the
Yeah.
time, but I don't know that I fully know the difference. So can you explain it to me?
It honestly, I am terrible at explaining it. That is a really good question, and I would absolutely love if somebody else could help me along with the terminology in it. It's just it's either lacking or well, it's lacking pigment, but I honestly have never been able to really understand that explanation. So forgive my ignorance for that. I think I've heard Kabilka explain it at one point. Aubrey Pruitt in the retics because I got into the Ocelot project and he just started getting that into T positive albino stuff too. Yeah, I am terrible at explaining it, and I'm so sorry I don't have the answer to that
Oh
question.
no, don't feel bad at all because I probably looked it up at least once or
Yeah,
twice, or at least asked the question at least once or twice, and I still don't have it myself. And so that's something I need to get a handle.
I've read it a million times. I'm great at reading things and holding on to that bit of information for a couple days, but my brain just doesn't
There's
honestly.
so much stuff going through there, like
Yeah.
so much information. Like it's information overload sometimes.
Hmm.
It escapes me sometimes. So yeah,
Okay.
so don't feel bad at all because I at least once or twice, maybe more.
Hmm.
I've looked it up where I've asked a question, I've had a conversation, but it's just not sticking for whatever reason. You know how sometimes it's like certain things you'll hear or you'll read and
Hmm.
you'll see it like 2 or 3 times and you would think you would understand it or you would think you would retain it. But
That's
for
like
some
that's
reason
like bartending. You can get somebody coming in ordering this one drink like 10 times. I'm like, I do not remember this stops that should have been going in that shot or whatever it is.
yeah, I feel you. 100%. 100%. And so you've been breeding. So what season are you on? Like this year, like fifth, sixth season,
Oh goodness. Seven, I believe.
seventh season?
Yeah,
Okay,
7 or 8. Because I started so called what I call professionally, as in like seriously, in 2015. But yeah, I think it's about my 7th season.
okay. So 2015 it was professional, and so
Hmm.
when you started in 2015, was it
Oh, this will
MSB?
be 8. Yeah, this will be 8. Sorry.
So when you started then in 2015, was it MSB Reptiles, or was that kind of like an evolution over time?
That
Obviously,
was evolution over time. I had the look to it. I have my original logo was made through somebody on Fiverr, and I like loved the heck out of it. I got all of my stuff for when I was vending shows at first too, and once I finally got more into it, got a little bit more into the game, into the industry, talking to more people, I finally got to revamp my logo, and now it's like I don't have anything that stays here, and I rarely get to vend, which I love to do, but I can't hold on to a lot of the stuff. But yeah.
gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, that's dope. And so 2015, you started doing it as a business.
Mhm.
So what are your goals, like future goals? Are you looking to do it like full time, or are you looking just to kind of do it like you do it now, like working 9 to 5, or work bartending or whatever you do
I've
outside of reptiles?
always wanted it to be my full-time job. What I would love to do is, I don't know, because it's hard for myself because I'm a really social person, and I that's why I love bartending and I love having that second job, being out, getting to talk to people. Because otherwise, I'm just like huddled in this room and the other room with all the snakes, and I
Yeah, you
don't.
get to talk to all kinds of people bartending, and you get to have some great conversations. They might
Oh
not
yeah.
remember them, but you probably
Oh,
do.
absolutely. Yeah. People ask me all the time, like, "Oh, is this your full time job?" I'm like, "No, I do this." I'm like, "What? I've never heard of that before." But yeah, I'd love to make this like my full time. But I think I did that at one point where I was just doing this every single day, didn't have another job, other than that. And it was a great income at the time. That was when everybody was just selling and selling and selling, and so I didn't need the extra job. And now it's kind of going the opposite, but I mostly did it for the social life. But I'll always say that I want this to be my full time, so I don't have to do anything else. But I don't think that'll ever happen.
You never know. Never say never. So, in terms of the MSB Reptile brand, talk about what that brand means and what you're trying to communicate to folks.
1000% education, making sure that people understand what they're getting into, quality first and foremost, right along with education. It has to be there. My brand has mostly been on top of not only the breeding, but the education side. I've done it a lot with zoos. When I was living in New Mexico, my best friend worked for the zoo, and we used to go to the schools all the time, go to the base all the time, and work on those shows to help educate the public on different things and get students and kids into the reptile industry and understanding it. So
Oh,
that
nice.
is one of my favorite things to do. I love the breeding side. It is 1000% my business, and I want it to keep going as that. But I also want that to supplement into the education side so people better understand these animals. So it's not just us in the industry. So you bring other people into it.
Nice. So, have you always been focused on education, or is that just kind of like something that
Oh, yeah.
worked out? Okay.
Always.
Nice. Nice. And what led to that?
I think that was my own curiosity. I carry a bachelor's degree. Not a lot of people know that. They get surprised that I don't use it. It's an aeronautical engineering degree.
Oh,
I'm a
nice.
fan of education, of learning things, of gaining knowledge. I think it's one of the best things you can do in life is just to learn more things. So people who share that, I like to learn and even learn more things from those people. So that's just kind of where it came from because I like learning.
Okay. Okay. Aeronautical engineer. So, was that like a focus you had growing up, or was that something you got into while you were in undergrad, or how'd you come upon that?
I always liked flying. My dad always took me around traveling with him my entire life, ever since I was a baby. So that was always something that I really enjoyed. He went for the same degree. He holds multiple as well. So I was just kind of following in my dad's footsteps, something that I love to do as well. And I wanted to go into the Air Force at one point. My ex-husband is in the Air Force now, retired. We're still great friends. But
Okay.
once I saw a glimpse into the Air Force life, we were married for a while, and I was like, I don't know if that's gonna be really me. I
That
like,
wasn't the move.
yeah, I like having my own business, being my own boss, and I don't think I could have really fit in very well with the military. So yeah, that was more so my glimpse into it, and I got into the snakes right about the same time, and just put more focus in the snakes.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm the same way. Like I like being my own boss,
Hmm.
and so sometimes that don't always go well with kind of having to fall in
Yeah.
line. But it's a struggle sometimes.
Oh yeah.
But obviously, it's a means to an end, and you got to do what you got to do, or do what you have to do what you want to do. And so
Hmm.
it's a process, right?
It's completely agree.
100%. So, what's one word that best describes MSB reptiles and why?
That is a tough one. I don't think I could pick one word.
All right, so I'll do you a solid. I'll let you do 3 words.
All right. I would say determined, uh, knowledgeable, and ever changing.
Nice, and speak to the why on those.
Ever changing because if you don't have the capacity to change, then you're never gonna grow, in my opinion.
You'll
Same.
always be evolving.
Yeah, same thing
Shout out
as
to
knowledge.
Miguel.
Evolution, there you go. That's a better word. Evolution for sure. You have to stay in the game and stay relevant, and knowledge comes right with that. So, and everything has to become successful. So,
Nice, nice. All right, so you're doing the bartending. You got the animals. About how many animals you got now?
uh, around 400.
Wow,
I
wow.
downsized a little bit. I had a little over 400 last season. I downsized the ball pythons, got more of the other projects, and now have a couple lizards coming in and working on possibly fish and a
Oh,
couple.
nice.
Oh yeah,
Saltwater or freshwater?
I want to do salt.
Okay, and I don't know anything about fish. Like that's the
I'm
end of my
still
questions
learning.
right there. Saltwater or freshwater? After that, I'm done.
Yeah, there you go. Sounds smart anyway. That's a good question.
Oh, nice. So several species. So obviously like different species have different husbandry. So talk about what your weekly routine looks like.
Oh goodness. Usually beginning of the week is all at home stuff, no bartending. So I when I'm home, I'm cleaning out all of the tubs first and foremost, and then the actual built up enclosures get most of my attention. That takes a very long time. That's why I'm slowly getting into it, starting to buy more into it. I'm also
So real quick, who do you have the built-in enclosures for? Like what species? Or the
indigo,
built up?
Crebos, Asian clubrids, a couple of the lizards. I'm hopefully working on getting a bronia. So I'm trying to build up some things before I get them. I am very determined to buy a house and finally get my dream Bolin's python
Oh, nice.
up. So yeah.
And so you said you were starting to get into.
I don't even know where I was going with that. I don't know.
My bad, I cut you off.
No, it's okay. My brain's all over the place.
All right, and so finish up with the weekly routine.
Just I would say most of my time comes from the actual like built up enclosures with all the actual bedding, because I keep all of my ball pythons on paper towels.
Okay.
That's what's absolutely worked for me. That's my quickest thing to work on. But in my absolute favorite to work on is the tegu's enclosure. Whenever I get him out, then he kind of cruises around the house and doesn't stay.
Nice, nice. So you keeping them all on paper towels.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that process look like? Like the cleanup process? Like, do you change waters like once a week, multiple times a week?
Waters
What do
is
you do?
multiple for
Okay,
sure.
nice.
Usually, I try to keep it around once or twice a week with the paper towels. Um, they rarely ever knock over their water bowls. The babies do it all the time, so they get more attention.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
I've got my bigger females moved over. I downsized out of a lot of my retics, because that took a lot more of my time. And so I've been putting all my really big female ball pythons in the 70 rack, and that's kind of kept them cleaner as it is. So yeah.
Nice. Okay. Okay. And so, what about rodents? Are you breeding your own rodents or do you buy
I do both. I have a very tiny garage currently. Also working on that with the new house, getting a rodent building finally set up. But they feed about half of my collection right now, and then I buy the rest from Carolina Rodents in
them?
South
Okay. 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 Yeah. So right now we got 7 colonies of ASFs going, and we started with like 2,
Carolina.
and it was just to feed some problem feeders.
Yeah.
And we had a little bit of extra, so we would feed those off. We had quite a few extra, so we would feed those off. Because ASFs, they produce a lot. It takes them a long time to grow, but they produce a good bit. Like it would be like it was nothing because we were running 1.3 in one and 1.4 in the other. So it was nothing to have like 80 offspring in various sizes just in one tub.
Yeah.
And so like they produce like a good bit. And so
Yeah.
what are you breeding?
I
ASFs
have
or rats? Regular rats?
mice and rats.
Okay. Have you bred ASFs?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, yeah. And so we went with ASFs just because we don't have like a lot of space, and so we wanted something that we could put in the space that we have and not have to clean it like as often, just because time was a limiting factor. And so we went with ASFs, and so it just worked out for us. We were fortunate because the ASFs that we have, they're like puppy dog tame. Like I would have no qualms like selling my ASF to somebody as a pet, to some kid as a pet. Like they're just like puppy dog tame. Like we would keep them in the reptile basics lab tubs. And so like when I walk up to them, they're like, and so like they're just so tame, like so tame. It's crazy because I hear like a lot of horror stories about ASLs. Like, man, I stick my hand in there and then just brush it. But like I can take a mom off her babies.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, you're cool.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, bro? And so like they're so cool. And so we've been bringing them, and so like lately because our rodent prices here locally have been going up just because their cost has been going up. So obviously they got to pass that cost on so they can stay in business. And so their cost has been going up. And so that's one of the reasons why we're up in production, just so we can offset our costs and it be a little bit cheaper to feed them. And then the other thing that I noticed too is like I feel like my animals that strictly eat the rodents we produce, I feel like they grow better and they look better and they feel better and just like
That
everything.
makes you feel good. That's a great feeling to do that for sure.
And so, what are you feeding your rodents?
Right now I use Kalmbach.
That's what I use. The 23%.
Yes. Yeah.
Kalmbach for the win. Y'all come sponsors.
I've been wanting to do more because it's hard to find around here, and I don't know what it is about North Carolina. I don't know if it is a North Carolina thing, but it's just I can't find anything like any kind of shavings is just so difficult to find around
Do you
here.
have a Tractor Supply company?
Yes, I use the Tractor Supply, but every time they get in their bags, it's just this super fine, like bottom of the barrel lately.
I hate that shit.
It drives me nuts. I love
The yellow bag
things, and I'm trying to think of the other. America's Choice are ones that I used to get in Texas, and
okay. So our Tractor Supply, they've got 2 bags of like the pine shavings. They've got the yellow bag, which is like the super fine, and I hate it.
Yep.
Hate it. And then they got the white bag, which is like perfect, right? Because the yellow bag ends up all over the floor.
Yeah, I don't know what this Tractor Supply. It's both the ones that are near my house, but they just I don't know what it's been lately. It's just been kind of just super tiny itty bitty shavings.
Okay, and so what do you put in the rodent tubs? So go ahead. I'll let you answer first.
No, that's I usually put in stall dry at the bottom. And which
what's it called?
Stall dry. The stuff you put under horse stalls or pig stalls.
That's what we do too.
Yeah, and then I put the shavings and then rats and their treats that they get.
Okay.
Because they're spoiled.
That's what we do too. We put the horse pellets in there. It comes in like everything we get. It comes from Tractor Supply.
Yeah.
It's like this green bag of like horse pellets, and so we'll put those at the bottom, and then we'll put the shavings on top, and then obviously the rodents and their stuff. And so it's been working for us. And so here recently, we increased the number of colonies. Like we took our colony that was like breeding the best and producing the most, And so we use that colony and we pull breeders from that colony. And so we went from 2 to 7 colonies. And we don't have a ton of animals, right? So we got I don't know exactly how many we got. We got 100 and something, and it's like the low hundreds, and that's including hatchlings. So that really should do it for us. How often are you feeding your ball pythons?
I feed babies once a week. My big females, it really depends. I'll occasionally give them a week off if it just looks like the room just isn't interested. And my males stick to smalls. Once I get them up to size, they go down to smalls, and they're perfect once a week. But yeah, it really depends. I have all of them labeled to where I have some that just only eat once every 3 weeks, and they keep really good weight. It just really depends on the snake. I'm really big into keeping track of what my females regularly eat and what their pattern is. So.
Okay, so hold that thought because I actually wanted to get into record keeping.
Yeah.
But real quick before we switch to record keeping, so when I was talking with Billy, and I heard this before, so like him and a couple other people talked about like feeding your ball pythons every other week, like once they get to a certain size, going to every other week. And I've kind of done like a hybrid approach, and I do 3 weeks out the month, right? So just say a month's got 4 weeks. I do 3, and I always take like 1 week off per month. And so far, like it's been working well for me. But I've been contemplating going to 2 weeks per month. But I ain't gonna lie, I'm a little bit scared because like I don't want to just like completely throw them off and mess them up completely. But it probably won't. It's probably just like in my head that'll happen. But I've been contemplating for a long time just going every other week. What are your thoughts on that? And it was Dr. Warren Booth who talked about it, and I know you know him.
Yes. I'm curious to know what Warren said because I've actually had this conversation with a few people just lately. Because it's a cost-effective thing. It's something that gets them on a better pattern sometimes because I've had some where if I feed weekly, once in a while they'll just be like, yeah, I don't need to eat this week. Why the heck are you putting this in my tub? So I've kind of been going back and forth. I started to do the once a month thing, like 1 week off a month that you were talking about. And that's honestly worked flawlessly, other than a couple here and there. Like if there are females that I'm trying to keep up to size, or if I've paired them, I want to keep them on good weight. That's where my super particular record keeping comes in with my females. And all my females are together, so I can kind of keep those in a better mindset, I guess, in my mind, to know that these are going to eat this week. I always feed my babies. I never give them a week off, just to be sure that they're going in case I sell any. So they're still up to wait for somebody who needs that. So that's a really good topic. And I'd love to hear what other people have to say about that too, because that's something I've contemplated with others. So.
Yeah, you hit on a really good point, like right out the gate there. Aside from like the health, because that's really what Dr. Booth was focusing on, was like the health. Because when they eat, like it's like this whole process that they go through where like their blood thickens and their organs enlarge and like just all this different kind of stuff, but you don't even realize like how stressful that is on the animal. And so like long term, it extends the life of the animal, or at least according to like what I heard him talking about. I'm not a doctor or anything like that, so I don't pretend to be one, but I'm just going off of like people who I know are smarter than me in the field. This is what they say, right? And so there's that part, and then it's more cost effective, right? So if you're feeding, say you go from feeding every week to feeding every other week, then essentially you cut your food bill in half, and you didn't do anything but feed less. Yep. And then Billy says they grow at the same rate, if not better. And so that's a good thing. And then the other thing too is he was saying that they don't hit like that 1,000-gram wall, right? And so they don't get there. And I can attest to this, right? So when I skip that week a month, that next week I have to like open the tubs like a little bit back because they coming out. It's like
That's the
they are
good
ready
thing.
to eat.
Yeah, once you get like past that week that you skip, they're like jumping out. It makes you feel better, and I don't know. It's just
Like,
overall, I've definitely been seeing that too, and I've been trying to focus more on like the scientific side of that. But yeah, I didn't know that you would talk to Warren about that, so I would
well,
absolutely.
I didn't talk to him. I
Or
saw
if
it
you
on
heard him say it,
saw it on
yeah,
the crowdcast.
yeah, you have.
And I would love to get him on the show. So if you happen to come across this YouTube video, the invitation is open. It
Okay.
always is. But yeah, like they just come right out, right? And so the appetite is like voracious.
Love to
And
see
so
it.
that's another positive. And then that week that you clean after they skip, it's like easy.
I look forward to those too.
And so it's just like plus check, plus check, plus check, plus check, plus check. And so like I mean it's just so many positives. And so I gotta get over that mental hump of doing it because if I can get over that mental hump of that, then I think at least for the size that we are now, the amount of colonies we got could pretty much sustain us. I'm a little hesitant about like the hatchlings because I don't want like the hatchlings to be like dependent on ASFs if I'm
Right.
gonna be selling to other people who might not have ASFs at the ready like we do.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then again, the animals that strictly eat the rodents that we produce, like I feel like they look better. Maybe I'm biased, but I feel like you look better.
I'm sure that's true. That's what everybody else says when they make their own. So it has to be true, right?
It's got to be true. If everybody say it, it's got to be true. It's got to be true. All right, so you touched on the record keeping earlier. So talk a little bit about your record keeping process, like what you're using, how meticulous are you? Give us a little bit of info about that.
I use Billy's thing. I can't think of the dang name.
Husbandry Pro.
Yes. Yeah. So I
Okay.
use that for all of my snake record keeping. I don't use every bit of it because I suck at like scanning things and trying to remember where to put it in the app, but
So what
I
all are you tracking?
I use that for mostly egg laying and pairing and just the overall collection itself. I don't use it for food right now because I have that by rack system and I have
Okay.
that as a paper trail in my room. But
Okay.
yeah, so it's mostly that and a lot of paper because I still believe in notebooks and physical writing. It helps me remember things better too.
Nice. So you sound like me because like I use Husbandry Pro. Um, I could probably use it a lot more
Mhm.
because I mean it's a ton of like functionality in Husbandry Pro. Like it's basically like from A to Z essentially, right?
Yep.
And when I first started, like so you're gonna laugh at this. So when I first started, we had like two snakes. So I was tracking everything. It's like, oh, and you're rated.
That's the
Oh,
best part.
it's and then as we got like more and more snakes, like that shit quickly became like a non-stop. I was like, I can't check all this stuff. And and then even as we got more and more on top of that, like I started tracking like less and less, right? Because I got more comfortable with what I was tracking. I got more comfortable with what I was seeing. I was learning my animals, and really, at the end of the day, like it's a lot of stuff that even though I don't track on paper or I don't track in software, like I know, right? So I can say, hey, this animal in this tub hasn't eaten in about this amount of time. And so like I know like little things like that. Like I know I'm like when I'm cleaning tubs and when I'm going in tubs, like I know this animal shed. And so like all this stuff, like you just like you got like like uh this mental like set of
Database.
notes or
Yeah.
whatever. You know what I mean? Like you know like so much stuff, which is good and it's bad because like if something happened to me, knock on wood, hopefully nothing happens to me. Like a lot of that like institutional knowledge goes away, right? Because like I'm tracking all this stuff in my head, but it's only like so much stuff you can track, like with
Right.
work and with all the animals you got, and just like the demands of everyday life, and just like what makes more sense, right? And so like I used to track all my breeders and when they were eating, and like every week I'll be like, oh, he ate a small rat, or she ate a
Yeah.
small rat.
Yeah.
But I don't do that anymore, and just because it was just too much, right, for me.
Yep.
I do track hatchlings.
Yep.
But even the hatchlings, I track them, but it's on paper. Like I'm writing because it's just quicker for me to write it on paper, right? And then like my goal is to like enter all that into the system, and I'll do that sometimes. Like I'll catch up, and then I'll sit down and I'll spend like an hour and I'll update everything in the actual software, right? But I don't do that like in real time, right? Just because it's like easier for me to like just go through and do everybody. Like I put like the fuzzy or whatever in everybody's tub, and then I'll let it sit in there. Then I'll come back in a little bit, and you know what I'm saying? I'll see who ate. If you didn't eat, you got a clip because I know a fuzzy's in there. I know you're all good. And so like I do like all these little things, but it's hard to track all that stuff like in the system, like right then and there, at least for me. And so it's funny you say that because I thought it was just me. Like I thought I was slacking.
Yeah, I track hatchlings up until they have their about 6 to 8 meals with just a cut in half index card taped to their tub, and it'll say, well, it'll be actually like 8 unassisted. I haven't had a hatchling in a while, knock on wood, that has needed an assistant.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's been nice. I'm gonna jinx myself for this coming season, but
Must be
yeah.
nice.
Yeah, I keep them recorded for up to 8, and then I get to throw that card away, and I'm like, like they'll be fine. I know what my girls eat, and what my males eat, and when they eat, and like my brain works with like a lot of people, even with like naming stuff too. I name every single one of my snakes. And I tried the number system for a little bit, but I'm like, this is so like unpersonalized, and I'm so sick of what it is. Like I have a lot of my like normal het monarchs that I hold back just for breeders for later on when I get to retire my others. But I have like them as normal female whatever number after that, or normal male whatever. I'm like, I can't do this because it doesn't get into my brain the way like a name would. So I name everything because it helps me do it.
Do you remember all the names?
Mm-hmm.
So all 400 names you remember?
If somebody asked me, I could probably
rattle them off.
Huh?
Rattle them off. I'm kidding.
I've been for a while.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, if I have like the mental image in my brain, and if somebody asked me to go through each and every one of them, I could just think like, oh, okay, this rack has this, and yeah.
Helps. So it's crazy because like, well, it's not crazy, but I do the same thing, right? So like, I name all the breeders, and we also have a number for all the breeders, but I don't remember the number. Like I can't tell you like who 2201 was. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I can tell you who 2210 is because I was like just looking at that today. But if you ask me the name, then I know. But sometimes it's even hard for me to remember the name. But I always remember the morph.
Yep.
Like always, like I never forget the morph, which is crazy because like I might be like, oh, this is an inchy leopard, yellow belly, desert ghost, head clown.
Yep.
Versus like just the name, which is just like one word, but it's easier for me to remember the morph than the name. That's crazy. Is it like that for you, or
not I wouldn't say the morph. I guess that gets tied to the name too, because the way that I name a lot of my stuff, it's just based off of like if I have a high intensity orange dream leopard het clown that I named what the heck did I name her? Now see the one that I choose. It's a Halloween.
What'd you name it?
It's a Halloween based name. But she's right there. I can't even see it. That's the one that I can't apparently remember. But it's it just reminded me of the high intensity orange dream because she's insanely orange. She is one of my favorites. She's absolutely gorgeous. And it's a leopard, so it's like orange and black. And so I tie that to like a Halloween name. I'm like, oh,
gotcha.
This one, I know what it looks like, and this has to be this. And yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Like I come up with like themes for the names, like certain clowns, like all their names start with I, and I don't even know why. Like I think like the first clown female I had, I named it with an I, and I just kind of kept that theme going. Like it's just like certain things that I do.
Yeah.
And then some of it is like it's no rhyme or reason. But
Mhm.
I'm not gonna lie, it's hard for me to remember all the names. But the Morse, I never forget those. Like never forget them. And like even like some animals that are the exact same morph, I know the difference between like those.
Yeah.
Like, this is that one, or this is that one. Like it's just crazy. And you would like, I mean, to the average person looking at it, they're like, they might be like, that's the same snake. And it's not.
Yeah.
Did you see this pattern? Did you see like how its tail does this? Did you see how its eye stripes look?
I
Like
do
did you
that too because I do like pair names, like couple names, or things that have to do with, like, you've heard of Aurora Borealis, the skylights.
Oh
So
yeah, oh
I
yeah,
have
100%.
two Vietnamese blue beauty rat snakes. I have a pair, and the female's Aurora and the male's Borealis, and so I'll just remember it that way as my pair.
Oh nice,
Yeah.
nice, nice. Yeah, yeah, it's fun and it's just interesting to hear like how other people deal with
Mhm.
intricacies like of the hobby and of the different things that they're doing. And Husbandry Pro, like I tell everybody, get Husbandry Pro because I love it, right? And I don't even use. I probably, if I had to put a number on it, probably 50% is probably like high to
Yeah.
say in terms of like how much of its functionality that I utilize. 50% is probably how I'm probably overselling, and I could use more, but there's a lot of functionality there, and it works for me.
Okay.
It works
Yeah,
for me.
I agree. That's the same with me. I need to look more into it because I've kind of fallen off the face of the planet with family coming in and getting settled here in North Carolina, and I've kind of gotten out of the loop a lot with the updated stuff. I know Billy's been working like crazy on like better things to use in Husbandry Pro, and I really want to see what else he just did because I just saw the last post and I didn't get to look at it because I had to freaking work, and yeah.
Yeah, and I've looked at others. Like I'm not gonna call names,
Yeah.
but it just didn't work for me.
Hmm.
And I've looked at a lot, right? And from what I've seen so far, Husbandry Pro is the GOAT,
Yep.
hands down. And it's not even close. It's not even close. And that's not a knock on nobody, but
Oh
from
yeah.
what I've seen so far, Husbandry Pro is the GOAT,
Mm.
hands down. So shout out to Billy, shout out to that development team, and shout out to everything they've done. Because like they made my life like 10 times easier, and I really appreciate it. So
1,000.
yeah. So how long have you been in North Carolina?
Since about April, mid-April, end of April, I think.
And you
Yeah.
came from Texas?
Yes, I was in the Dallas area.
Okay. And so how long were you in Dallas? You weren't in Dallas very long, were you?
No, I was only there for about a year.
Okay. And so like where'd you come from before then?
New Mexico. I was
Okay. And so like all of these were with your animals, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So talk about that process. Like you're a pro, you should write a book, like how to move your ball python collection.
Done it enough. Man, that was a nightmare in itself. Just the anxiety, getting up to the day, and you think that you have all this time, but it always ends up being 48 hours awake, getting all of these animals checked on. The first time I moved, it wasn't as far. It was only 7 hours. Well, it was supposed to be 7 hours, but it took a little bit longer. But the drive here from Texas was supposed to take about 15. But I had my truck, a temperature controlled van that a friend of mine drove with
Oh
all
nice.
the reptiles in it. And then I had the moving truck that
Okay.
Zach drove. So I had my vehicle and two other things. So all the snakes went in the van, all of my personal items and um, uh, the racks and all the extra stuff went into the moving van or the moving truck, which was like a 20 something footer. And I didn't even get everything. But I had to pack all of them up the day that we were going to leave, which took too long. We were supposed to leave at 9 o'clock in the morning to come to North Carolina. We ended up leaving at 5:30 in the afternoon. instead. So it took us almost a day to drive because we kept having to stop. I do not do well driving at night. So
That's a long drive, though.
it was so, I mean, it wasn't the worst thing in the world, but once I'm tired, I'm tired. I'm cranky. I don't do well getting along with other people during that drive. Me and Zach were going back and forth. They were like, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean it."
And shout out to Zach for anybody who's under a rock and you don't know who Zach is. Shout out to Zach Nava Reptiles. Check him out, Team Ultramil.
He's alright.
Yeah, I got 2 dope ass snakes from Zach, and I'm looking to get more. So yeah, shout out to Zach.
You just got to get into the monarchs, though. I'll get you there at some point.
All right. I'm not a monarch hater. Like some people, like you clearly on one side of the spectrum, but like I've seen some monarch stuff that looks like really.
It's
really
night and day difference. I can show anybody if they want to see it. We got plenty to compare. So.
And so, tips as far as the move, like what were some hard things that you went through? What were some lessons learned? Because I'm sure each time you learned something different.
Absolutely 1,000% plan for more than what you think, because it's always going to be more than what you think. You need more room, you need more time, you need more people. Just do the most and go overboard as much as you can, especially to keep the animals comfortable. I had to run to the store 5 to 10 times to get more tubs because I bagged them and then I put them in tubs to stack so they had plenty of room in between. Make sure you're secure in in packaging them. I only had one escapee, and when I opened the door to the van to get gas, so I was checking on him every couple hours because I was so frantic about it, making sure.
Oh yeah.
But I had one escapee, which was my leucistic Texas rat snake that I posted not too long ago on my Instagram. But he was just chilling on top of a couple of the tubs, and very glad that he didn't get out. But yeah, all definitely 1,000% plan for more time to pack up the animals or just get more people because you're gonna need it. It's very tiring.
Yeah, and I can imagine. Like, I feel like it would be crazy with us moving our animals, and we got like 100 or something. I don't know the exact number. I never know the exact number. I don't think anyone knows the exact number all the time unless you get that sort of amount. But you got 400 plus, so that's got to be like even more crazy.
Yeah,
and so
around the racks, I think, is what was the most tedious because I wanted to keep. What's great about ARS racks is that you can just take like the levels off and whatever. But the house that I was in Texas, you had to take off each level of the 70 series because it wouldn't fit through the door. So yeah, you just remember when you put the racks together that you're gonna have to take them apart and do that again right when you get home to make sure they're on heat.
Yeah, I can imagine. PTSD. And what time of the year was this?
This was in spring, so it wasn't too hot. It was like the perfect time, I'd say, to do it. For sure. There wasn't any kind of like external things that could have been detrimental to them, if anything. It was just warm enough to keep them from being too cold too.
Okay, nice. Because my homie Joey Kassar, he moved from the West Coast, from Reno, all the way to Ocala, Florida, which is like 45 minutes from me. I'm in Gainesville, Florida. Not even 45 minutes, like maybe 39. And it was during like the winter or early winter, so it was pretty cold. So he had to deal with like the elements and stuff. So for you, are you a seasonal breeder or are you a year-round breeder?
Mostly year-round.
Mostly year-round. So did the move affect any of your clutches or any of your females? And did you have like any clutches that were incubating or anything like that? What did that look like for you?
Yeah, I completely forgot about that. I actually I did this the first time I moved because I had a couple clutches that were in the incubator the first time. And so I bought one of the chicken egg incubators from Tractor Supply, just the
Okay.
styrofoam thing. And
Shout out to Tractor Supply.
I I luckily have an outlet in my truck. So I had my clutches, all the eggs were labeled just in case they got moved or shifted. I had a temp gun and the incubator in my passenger seat, and I was constantly checking it, and it constantly was fluctuating, and it drove me nuts. They all hatched perfectly, but that's what I
Oh,
use to
nice.
move my clutches. So if anybody ever needs tips on that, it's super easy to move them, but it's so erratic. Ah, drives me nuts.
I can imagine. I would be losing.
Yeah. It definitely put a lot of my females back a bit. I wouldn't say a lot, a couple of them. But then I moved within another year. So I definitely the clutches that I had been waiting for, like what would have been Monarch Pieds a year and a half ago, and a couple other big projects just got moved back, and now I'm finally getting them this season. So it's kind of heartbreaking, but I'm in a better place now, so that's the good part.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice. That's dope. That's dope. And you like in North Carolina?
I love it here.
Yeah. I wanted to move to North Carolina. Um, so when we were in undergrad, we planned to go to Charlotte, like right after undergrad.
Yeah.
But we're from Valdosta, Georgia. I don't know if you ever heard of it. You might have
Yep.
drove through it before.
Yep.
Um, we ended up going to Gainesville because Gainesville was like it was closer. It was, I mean, neither one of us had ever lived anywhere differently than Valdosta, Georgia. And so Gainesville was kind of like a next step. Like it was kind of like a middle step. And we're like, oh, we're gonna stay here like 3, maybe 4 years or whatever. And shit, fucking that was 2011, and we're still here.
Mm-hmm.
We just kind of like put roots down in Gainesville, but we
Yeah.
were gonna move to Charlotte. That's my favorite city in the world. And
Oh,
then
really?
outside of that, if I moved somewhere else, it would be Texas. Like Texas is like my favorite place, like my favorite state overall. But Charlotte is probably my favorite city.
I'm a big fan of trees and wildlife, and I absolutely love Texas and New Mexico. That was the best herping I've ever done in my entire life. I
Oh,
don't think
nice.
anywhere else could ever beat it. No, I mean Arizona, of course, a little bit of California, but where I was in Texas did not make me all that happy. The people were amazing. I don't think I'll ever find an area that had better people, but I would 1,000% pick Texas for the people, and then the East Coast for like the trees and the extra stuff that Texas doesn't have.
Nice. Charlotte has like 4 seasons, and we don't have 4 seasons here. Like it's like hot and less hot. Those are our 2 seasons. It's hot and less hot. Every now and then it'll get a little bit chilly. Like for instance, it's a little chilly outside right now.
Mhm.
Right? So it's like 55.
Right.
It might be little bit chillier because it's nighttime, so it might be a little bit chillier. But that don't last for very long. Like that's like 3, 4 days. If it's wild, like if it's like it might be 5 days.
Yep.
But it doesn't get very cold, and it's like not like a lot of seasonal stuff. But in Charlotte, you got like 4 seasons, right? You got like a spring, you got a summer, you got a fall, you got a winter. Like it's like 4
Yeah.
distinct seasons, and it's
Compared
pretty
to
cool.
Florida, definitely. People would argue about that here, but
Oh, really? Yeah, compared to Florida,
oh
then it's definitely.
yeah,
And for me, that's what I want because like I don't want like a crazy winter or nothing like that. Like I couldn't do it. Like me personally, I've never seen like a whole bunch of snow. Like I'm maybe one inch. 1 inch is probably like overselling it too. And like it's like there and it's like fleeting, it's gone.
yeah, and
And I'm good with that, like as far as somewhere I live. I wouldn't mind visiting somewhere where it's like a whole bunch of snow, like for a while. But I don't want to live like where it's like a blizzard and it's like a week long or whatever. So I can do that. But yeah, Charlotte was one of the places we were gonna go, and then obviously Texas. And there's a couple different places in Texas.
Oh,
Yeah, Texas is cool as hell. I like Texas. Like I always have a ton of fun when I go to Texas, which is why I want to get to the Arlington show. So speaking of the Arlington show, talk about the shows you've attended and what shows you've liked the best, and what's your plans for the show circuit going forward.
yeah. I am trying to make more of a point to go to Tinley in the spring. I haven't been to Tinley in a year, and it hurts my heart because that's one of my favorite shows. Just because it's big. I think my favorite show is always going to be Arlington because I love my Texas peoples.
Nice.
And
shout out to the Texans.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Daytona is another one that I really like to go to every year. I didn't get to go again this year, but that was because of moving. So I'm.
When was the last time you went to Daytona?
The year before. I've been going every single year except for last. I can't remember when I started, but it was a while.
So you went in 2021? Oh damn. We were there in 2021. We actually went in 21 and 20.
I usually am helping out Venom Life table. So
okay.
If you ever go to a show, I guarantee you're gonna see me at that booth.
Okay.
Yeah, they're
starting to get you in 23.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, so I'm hoping definitely for Tinley, definitely for Arlington. I'm wanting to go back to Schaumburg. I went there the first one, and the hotel was so nice. It was bougie. There was a TV in the mirror. Bathroom. Like I want to go back.
Well, that's nice. That's real bougie.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Nice. So before 2022, the biggest show that we have gone to was Daytona. It's like 2 hours away from us, so it's like it's a given, right? We're going to Daytona.
You have to.
This was the first year we were like living that Daytona life, where we were there like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and we probably still didn't get there early enough. I think next year we're getting there like Thursday, at least Thursday.
Give yourself a vacation. I did that the past 2 years that I went. I always planned that following Monday, so you get through the whole weekend at least. Or I think one time I went there for a full week.
Oh, nice, nice. So you're definitely living that Daytona life. Yeah, Daytona is nice. I definitely want to get there for an extended period of time, and there's really no reason why at this point. Like there used to be, because like there's like different deadlines and stuff. I had to work to where I couldn't get away, but I feel like now I can do it. So I can take a few extra days. Yeah. Definitely want to hit Daytona. I mean, it's 2 hours away. Like why not? Why not live it up? Okay. But before this year, Daytona was like the biggest show we had gone to. But we went to Tinley. Well, I went to Tinley this year.
Oh, you did?
That was dope. Yeah.
Did you like it?
It was like next level. It was next level. Like I feel like it's hard to say like which one was bigger. I feel like Tinley was bigger, but I don't know if that's the case, because Tinley like
more vendors.
It's more vendors, and then it's like more compact. Like at Daytona, you're in this big ass like warehouse, and so like everyone more spaced out. And then at Tinley, it was like more like big names and like people that you usually don't see there, and so it felt bigger. And then it was in like a nicer venue overall, and so like it was just like a lot of different things like going for Tinley that made it feel bigger. But Tinley was a whole vibe. Like I had a blast at Tinley, and I didn't even party like that, right? Because I ended up going to bed early on Saturday night just because like I wasn't feeling like 100%. And so like I ended up going to bed early Saturday night, and I got there like late Friday evening. And so like just from my experience at Tinley, like going out Friday night, hanging out all day Saturday, chilling Sunday, like it was a whole vibe. I ended up leaving Monday. But just imagine if like I was like out in the streets on Tinley. It would have been like even more, right? And so like Tinley, I can't wait to go back to Tinley.
That's how I feel. I bet you didn't even hit every table that you wanted to, did you? It never happens. I think of that every time, and I'm like, I told this person that I was gonna go say hi, and we probably passed each other like 10 times, but still never get to see everybody.
Yeah, and then like I was probably drinking way too much on Saturday. Not gonna lie, And so, like, I told somebody, I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm sorry I didn't see you." Till it was like, "We saw each other." I was like, "We
We
did."
have a picture together. What are you talking about? Like, I do that all the time. I'll go through my phone. I'm like, we took this in the. There's always a drunk elevator picture every single time, and I'm like, I don't remember that, but I saw you. We made it to Facebook post at the on a Monday after Tinley. Like, hey, I saw you.
Hey, it's documented on social
Yeah.
media, so it's real.
Yes.
And yeah, just like getting to meet all the people and like just people like I see online, I talk to online all the time, or people that I see online who I never talked to, but seeing them and like just having interactions with them, like it was just dope. Like it was, like I said, it was a whole vibe. Like I enjoyed myself at Tim. That was dope. That was my second auction. The first auction that I went to was in Daytona, obviously. But the Tinley auction, it was dope. Like I just had a good time. I had a great time at Tinley. I can't wait to go back.
Me too.
And the whole like community vibe, like I hear it's changed like over time. Like I hear back in the day it didn't used to quite be this way,
Right.
which I'm glad it is the way it is now. So getting into the reptile hobby, what's some things that surprised you about the hobby or the industry? However you want to look. Well, first of all, how do you look at it? You look at it as a hobby, you look at it as an industry from your perspective.
Honestly, both. That really depends because I don't just see myself in it. I mean, it's everybody, and I don't exclude hobbyists versus full time job in my mind. So I'd say both, and I'd say it's definitely a hobby for the fun aspect, and then a job because I rely on it for my income. But I'd say one thing that really surprised me was such a welcoming community of people at first, and now I'm like I'm gonna pull everybody into this as much as I can because I enjoy it. Everybody in this is like a great person, and I want everybody to know how great these people are, and that's definitely what surprised me the most. If I would say that's a surprising thing, because I go into things like wholeheartedly, and I'm like, I want to be friends with you. I used to be so shy on stuff like this, and so I'd go to the shows, and I'd be a lot better in person. I've gotten a little better on these, not too much, but yeah, I'd say absolutely 1,000% go to shows because it's the best part, I think.
Yeah, and so that's my vibe. Like
Mhm.
I like social media, right? And
Yeah.
so but for me, like I was born in '79. And so like I grew up in a different era. So social
Mhm.
media hasn't always been like an integral part of my life. So it's still like something I'm learning. Like I've been there since the beginning, but it's still something I learned. I didn't
Right.
come up with it, right? And so for me, social media is still kind of like it's this learning curve. And I imagine it's even like that for people
Yeah.
who weren't born like in '79 or whatever. You know what I mean? But for me, the in person, like face to face, like interactions, like for me, that's still like where the great is. Like
Mhm.
that's what I like. Like I like meeting you, shaking your hand, dapping you up. You know what I'm saying? Getting a picture, having like some regular face to face conversation. Like that's my whole vibe. So
Yeah.
going to shows is where it's at. That's where you meet people. That's where you get like to be like extremely personable with them. Like that's just me, right? You know, and
Yeah.
network, right? And at the end of the day, like your network is your net worth, and that's what makes it, in my opinion, that's what makes it like more fun. Like, because your net worth isn't just measured in dollars,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Like measured in happiness and stuff like that. And so, like adding on to like your net worth for me, that makes me happier, right? Like
Yeah.
I know more people, like get the vibe, I mean, we get to chill, and so like the shows is it's just where it's at for me.
I am the exact same way. I think same with like bartender life because I love interacting with people, and I just it's what makes me happy, and you get to know people better that way. I'm pretty bad with keeping up with people when I'm at home, and I'm like, I got a million things to do here, and I suck at communicating in that way. And the shows, I just get to go like full force into something that I'm like, I want to do this. Can now like put my time and effort into it, and it's better than ever every single time.
Yeah, yeah, the show is dope, and I want to get to as many as possible.
Mhm.
Uh, Coming up this year, I would like to hit Arlington. I don't know if I'll be able to hit Arlington, but I
Yeah.
would love to hit Arlington. Definitely Daytona. Definitely Tinley again. Arlington, I would love to hit it. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. So, what shows are you planning to go to again this year?
Tinley for sure, since I didn't
Okay.
go last year. So definitely Tinley, and I'm really hoping for Schaumburg because I think that's getting bigger each time. I didn't get to go or really see a lot of recorded info, so to speak, on how Schaumburg was this last time, but for the projects that I'm working, the right people are going to those shows, and so like I always want to talk about it, but like I said, I like suck when I'm at home, but I would love to hear shows where I can talk to people about further projects and getting to kind of up the ante with that stuff. So definitely Tinley, definitely Daytona. I am absolutely 1,000% making
You
Daytona.
gotta hit
Whatever
Daytona.
I gotta do,
You
I'm
gotta
going to the beach. I'm going.
hit. Nice. So, you got any crazy show stories?
Oh God. Yeah. It probably shouldn't be shared on a platform or recorded.
You don't have to say names.
Yeah.
We use fictional characters. The
I've
names are changed to protect the innocent.
yeah. I've slowed down a lot. I used to be the Friday drinker or the Thursday drinker, and I got to the show at like 3 in the afternoon because I was hungover, and I can't do that anymore. So I'm still not a morning person. I'm not going to get up early to get there, but I'll be there earlier than what I normally do.
Nice. So, what's something you didn't expect in the hobby? Like, what's something that totally surprised you? Took you by storm.
I don't know. I'd say in the very beginning, I think my attitude was more looking into it like, oh my God, there's all these people that I've been watching like their shows and stuff and see them on YouTube and talking to each other. I'm like, I'm never gonna get to talk to these people. And like once I got into more of the Monarch project and got talking to more people, I think I was more surprised at how welcoming a lot of those people were. I I wouldn't say that that's like just this industry for sure, but that was what was more surprising and exciting for me to be on the welcoming side instead of having to like fight my way tooth and nail. Be like, listen to me. So open arms and welcoming.
So, speaking of that, do you feel as a woman you face any unique challenges in the hobby?
That's a great question because I would say that that used to be a really big topic, and that's why I was brought on a lot of podcasts in the beginning, because it was hard uh, for a lot of people for a long time. I don't think that I've had anything other than when I would vend shows, and I had friends with me that were males, and they like people would automatically go to them instead of me, and like I don't know if it was that mindset or not, but that's been kind of a curve that I didn't expect. So I'd say that's definitely one of the surprising aspects from your other question, that it was like, hey, I'm here. This is my table.
This is
Like, it's
me.
great. This person knows exactly what I'm going to tell you, but hey, I'm here. Um, but yeah, I'd say that was the only curve because everybody in the industry who is really worth having as a friend and an acquaintance or anything else, they'll be talking to you. You don't have to try just because you're a girl, or you don't have to try extra anyway.
Yeah, that's dope. That's 100%. 100%. Cool. All right. So, what else did I want to ask? Oh, yeah. So, what do you think is the most important personality trait to be successful in this industry?
I would say that would have to be a couple different things. Caring, it has to be one of them. If you're not capable of caring, then I don't think you can really want to take care of the animals. That's definitely one.
100.
Second one, adaptable, I guess, because I wasn't exactly like an easy person to talk to at first. Like I had to adapt to the social media side and videos. I hate talking on a video. I can't make a video myself and record my voice and want to post it. I'm still struggling with that, but I would say caring and adaptable for sure are two big ones.
Gotcha. Yeah, social media is hard. It's a whole grind for one. If it wasn't for Krishan from GP States,
Mhm.
I probably would have procrastinated. Like it would probably still be to this day that we didn't have any shows or nothing. It's just hard. Like I'm not like a natural person to get out in front of a whole bunch of people and carry on the conversation. And I feel like when you record a YouTube video, like you're getting out in front of the whole world. And so like for me, that was a struggle, right? It's just like not my natural personality. So like kind of coming out of that shell was like hard for me. And like I never forget it. Like Rashawn like was always pushing me. He was like, "You got a dope collection. You really passionate about this. You need to get on YouTube. You need to get on YouTube." I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it one day." And even still to this day, we got like two like normal videos that aren't like the live podcast. But I was like, "Yeah, we're gonna do the live podcast." And he was like, "Oh yeah, you jumping right out there." I was like, "Yeah," because at least then I can just it is what it is, like for better or for worse, right? So just get it out there. But even then, like I'm the same person. Like it's crazy because I don't want to hear myself. It's just weird. Like it's just
Yeah.
like a weird dynamic. Like just listening to yourself is just weird. I don't know. And so like I had to get used to that, right? Like just actually hearing myself talk, actually hearing myself speak, especially like for editing and stuff like that. I mean, when you're editing your video, you got to hear yourself speak. Like
Oh,
there's no getting around it. And so
yeah.
like that was like such a weird dynamic for me. And so getting used to all that and just like getting used to put myself out there, like it was just like it was a learning curve for me, for real, for real, for real. And so like even now I'm not like a 100% comfortable. Like we having this show right now. Obviously this is pre-recorded, so it's like not people in the chat, but most of the shows is like pre-recorded, and so it's like several people in the chat, and I really just kind of ignore them, right? Not ignore them to the point to where like I don't acknowledge they're
Yeah.
there, like I don't think about they're there because if I start thinking about the people are there, then I'm gonna start like thinking about the people are there, and
Yeah.
that's gonna affect what I say. That's gonna affect how I act. That's gonna affect what I do. That's gonna affect like the whole flow. And so for me to like kind of put that like just to the side and just like be me, like that was like a whole evolution. And I'm still not like in the promised land yet, but
Yeah.
it's been like an evolution over time. And like now my wife on the live episodes, she controls like the comments and stuff like that.
Oh,
She controls like the banners. Oh, see, like she controlling the banner in perfect example. I didn't even start the banner, so I'm starting the banner right now. Support US Art Florida. Usually I have the banner going like the whole
yeah.
episode. My wife has the banner going the whole episode. But me, Rookie Move. We got to stop right now. We got to get off right now and start this whole interview
I'm gonna go.
but yeah, but I say that to say this, like it's just like the evolution, right? Of mindset, thought process. Like I feel like I'm getting a little bit more comfortable, and it's just becoming like it's more normal. But at first, like I was nervous as fuck. The first live I did, I was on somebody else's live, and like I was good, like the whole backstage part. Like I was good, like I was a backstage pro, like I was the goat backstage.
Yeah.
As soon as that timer started going and it was time to start the episode, I was nervous. Like I was like panic. I was like, I gotta go.
Yeah. That's how I
It's the whole process though.
started. When I first started on the lives, I was like almost thankful of the like comments here and there because it would be hard to like keep talking. And this is probably the most I've talked on any podcast that I've been asked to be on.
Oh,
I
nice.
I don't know if I'm becoming more comfortable, but like once I like start like getting the questions of like, man, who the heck is watching this? Because there are 1,000 other people that are way smarter than I am, know a lot more than I do in this industry. And so I'm like, am I saying something stupid? Am I saying it wrong? What am I saying? Somebody's gonna pick me apart, and it makes my heart like melt. I'm like, I didn't mean it like that, and it's just like I just get all tongue tied, and I'm like, I just feel stupid. But if I'm bartending and somebody's like, "Oh, like what it," because I'll wear my MSB hoodie, and they'll be like, "Oh,
Oh,
what's
nice.
that?" And I'm like, blah 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 blah, and I'm like, puking out all of these words, and these people are like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "I wish this was on a podcast because
Right.
this is when I can actually talk." But on a
But
regular podcast, like,
those kind of conversations are the conversations
yeah,
that need to be on a podcast, and like that's like the mentality you should have, like when
yeah.
you're having
I need somebody to follow
podcast
me
conversation.
around with the camera at work and just like snap that one little thing, and I'll post that as like just mini.
That is some dope ass
I'm gonna
content.
bring the first. Does anybody do mini podcasts? Is that a thing? Can I start
Hey,
that?
do it.
Ten
You
minutes.
can be the first, and then everybody else will be doing
Yeah.
it. Put some music behind it. It'd be dope. Make a
Yep.
reel out of it. That'll be
Okay.
dope. But yeah, but I feel you like 100%. Like the first few podcasts that I went on, like I would just be like freaking out. Because like I hadn't been in it that long, so I felt like I was saying something stupid.
Yep.
On top of that, I felt like people were gonna pick apart what I did say, and it's like, did I say something that was wrong? Did I say something that was contradictory? Oh goodness, I can't believe I said that.
Yep.
And then like I got to a point, I was like, bro, like you tripping, like you tripping, bro. Like just you said what you said. That's what you said. That's how you felt. You know what I'm saying? And just live with it. If somebody got the time to
Yeah.
pick you apart and just really be like that, fuck them.
Yep.
Like I just had to get that mentality. And
Exactly.
it's worked better, right? Just nobody's perfect. You're human. And at the end of the day, being human makes you more relatable. So if somebody gonna like rag on you for being human, fuck them.
Yep.
Fuck them. That's my philosophy, right? And so that's the advice I can give people. Fuck 'em.
Love it.
And so it just makes it easier, right? And I say stuff that's wrong, like people, you make mistakes. It is what it is. Like it is what it is. Like people kind of like to see like growth over time. People like to see like all that. People like to see that human element. Like that's what really like attracts people to you, because if you're like perfect, then you're not relatable.
Yep. Exactly.
So
Yeah. I get people messaging me and they're like, "Oh, you did so much better on this podcast." I'm like, "You're watching this long? You watched my first one? Like, oh, I wish all people were like you."
But yeah, like it's just a learning, like it's growth, and it's all about the growth. And like that's what I like. Over time, like I mean, we started from 2 big plastic Sterlite tubs. I posted a reel the other day, like our first 2 like plastic Sterlite tubs, and we had like 2 snakes, right? We had a super pastel mocha, and we had and she was a female, and we had what we thought was a female banana motley beetle. Turns out he was a male, but that's a whole nother story. But anyway, long story short, like that's where we started, right? In 2 like big Sterlite tubs, like this huge water bowl, like they could have went swimming in it. Like it was like a whole evolution. And then we went to a rack, and then more racks, bigger racks, and now we got like 1 ARS. And so it's an evolution over time, and so it's growth, right? Our whole thought process about breeding, that's changed over time. Before, like I was like, I just want to do codoms. And then even with like the recessives that I want to do, I just want to do recessive to recessive. That's all I want to do, like clown to clown, hypo to hypo, like pie to pie. Like, that's all I want to think about. But like over time, that's grown, right? Having conversations with people more experienced than you, and just learning. And it's still like a learning process. Like I could look at this whole interview like a year from now. So November. So today we recorded this in November 21st for those who are going to be watching it Thursday when it comes out. But we can look at this November 21st, 2023, and I can be like, bro, you a dumbass. Like, just because like a whole 12 months has passed and like you learned so much. And really that's the goal. Like the goal is to look at yourself 4 months ago and say you were a fucking dumbass because you've grown so much, right? And so that's the goal. And it's all about learning. There's no shame in it. No shame at all. I don't even know how we got on that rant, but like that's how I feel about it. Like it's all about growth. It's all about growth and development.
Absolutely.
100%. I would like to say I don't even know how we got on that rant, but that was my rant for the night. I try to do like one rant. That was my rant.
That's the best part of the podcast sometimes. It's better than that, like, random awkward dead air that, like, I used to end up causing sometimes because I'm like, I answered the question with 3 words, and that was it. Yeah.
And so, like, it's funny that you say that because, like, at the beginning, and you could probably go back and watch some episodes. Sometimes people answer with three words or whatever. Like, I would let that ride, and that would be the question, and then like, or that would be the answer. But then I'm like, oh no, you're not getting out that motherfucker that easy. Like, I got a follow up question. I got another follow up question. Yes, that like we're gonna get to the root of this.
Well, I love the way that you interview because it's definitely a lot livelier than what I'm used to, and it's so easy. So I love watching your lives, and so you do a phenomenal job.
I appreciate it. Like, it really means a lot. Like 100%. Like, you're easy to talk to. Like, it's been great. Like, I've really been enjoying it. So I definitely appreciate you coming on the show. It's been great.
Well, thank you.
100%. And so before I let you get out of here and enjoy the rest of your night, I've got some random questions for you.
Okay.
And so the first one is, if you could live anywhere in the world, where would that be and
I would say my answer right now would be Australia, just because I want to go. I haven't been yet. I want to spend all the time there, see all the animals that I can. It's mainly about the animals. It doesn't even matter about anything else.
Herping would be crazy in Australia.
Exactly.
Any specific place in Australia?
No, I haven't done enough research into what's where, but I know as soon as I have the inkling to go, that's going to be diving into it every night. What am I going to see? Where am I going to go? Who am I going to call? Where am I going?
So this is a book I've been. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
This is a book I've been reading.
Yeah, I think I have that book. I have 1,000 reptile books that I still need to get into.
Yeah, I've been waiting on that book for the longest. I've probably been stalking Nick. Like, I'll go on his page and see if he posted any updates. So Nick wrote the book, and he's basically the Justin of carpet fighting, right? And so, like, I've been waiting on that book to come out forever.
That was when did that one come out?
So I just got it. I got it the week, like the first week in November is when I got it. It came out like shortly before that. Like, I pre-ordered it Daytona weekend, like the day before we went to Daytona. Then the first time I saw it like in print, like live and in color, was at Tinley.
Yeah.
And so that was like probably what was that, the first week of October? And I got mine probably like 3 weeks later.
Got it. I was just gifted a bunch of them, so I'm sure there's like a bunch of those kicking around, and I'm like, I want to see it, but that's another thing that I still haven't unpacked.
Yeah, because carpet pythons, like that's my jam. Like, I really love carpet pythons, and I'm really trying to learn as much as I can about them because that's a species like I really want. At some point, I want to be like a subject matter expert at carpet pythons, and I'm nowhere near there like a subject matter. Like, nothing at carpet pythons. I've been keeping for a little over a year, for like a year and a half, or something like that. Maybe a little bit longer. But I really like carpet pythons.
Do you like the localities more, or do you like the morphs more?
I like the morphs. I'm a morph guy. Like, coming from ball python land, I'm a morph guy. I don't have a ton of morphs, so I got one jungle. I got a zebra jungle. And then I got like another jungle that's highlighter line, and so it's like a line, and so it's like super bright. Like, he's a little fireball. He's actually gotten a lot better, and so I gotta give him a little bit of flowers. I gotta give him his flowers. He's gotten better, but he's still not like perfect. He's still like but they're not just like super easy. Like, in my opinion, ball pythons, relatively speaking, are fairly simple, right? Like, obviously there's like a lot of intricacies and things, and people fuck it up. Like, people mess it up a lot, but just relatively speaking, when compared to some other species, they're fairly straightforward eating habits aside. But carpets are a little more challenging, in my opinion. especially like with their personality and stuff,
Yeah.
but like kind of getting them to calm down and stuff like that. Then we got a coastal carpet, and we've got a Bruttles, and so like I just like carpets. But I want to get into like some diamond jungle jags and stuff like
Oh
that. Like
yeah.
the higher end stuff that gets like
Yeah.
crazy looking. But I'm trying to I'm trying to wait, like because initially when we first got into like reptiles, I mean you know how it goes. Like it's like Lay's potato chips. I bet you can have just one. And then like you just like buying. Exactly. And so like I've been being better about that and trying to be focused because right now ball pythons. That's the focus. The projects that we're working on. That's the focus. And I want to focus on those things, achieve the goals in those things, and get that to a point to where it's supporting like some of these other like adventures we want to take in reptile world, right?
Right.
So like in order to do that, we got to stay focused. We got to keep the mission at the forefront, and so that's what I've been trying to do, right? And so, but at some point, like I'm gonna get into some crazy carpet python stuff too. So it's coming. It might be a while, but it's coming. But yeah, love the carpet python.
That's
And so
that's another thing that I'd stress because how I am with like knowledge in the industry and the community. The ball pythons are great. Like just the job itself is great. The animals are great, but they are simple and the pet rock, as some people would call it. And I love the challenging species. Like that's why I want Bolin so much because I've done a ton of research and they're so interesting to watch. And that's why I like to work with venomous too, because it's just you have to pay attention. You have to learn everything that you can about these animals to respect them. And I absolutely love working with the challenging stuff. So I completely understand where you're coming from.
yeah. The challenge just makes it like that much more rewarding. And when you have a like for us it's the carpet pythons because even the boas we got were easy. Like I never had a defensive boa. I know some boas can be defensive, but I never had a defensive boa. But I like all of our carpet pythons, all of our jungle carpet pythons were defensive. Our coastal wasn't defensive. Brother was like a puppy dog, but at least the jungles were like they were pretty spicy. But they calmed down over time. I don't even know where I was going with that. Oh, it's rewarding. It's rewarding, right? When they calm down and like they trust you a lot more. It's just like okay. Whether that's something I did or whether that's something they just like kind of naturally did, it
Yeah.
still feels good to get them from A to B, right? Definitely, and you definitely got to be like a lot more alert.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I love carpets. Like that's my jam. Like
Oh yeah.
I joke. I was like, don't tell nobody, but carpet pythons are my favorite.
You can definitely tell by the way you like light up for that for sure.
Carpet pythons, yeah, I love them. All right, so next random question: if you could have dinner with any three people, dead or alive, doesn't matter, who would it be? Why?
Oh man, it's gonna be the probably the most basic. I wouldn't say basic, but definitely Steve Irwin for sure. Just because
Nice.
I think anybody
No
else.
said, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you have the option.
Right.
Man, I don't know the other ones. Whenever people ask me that, like anybody that you could meet, it's always Steve Irwin. But and
Yeah, I'm gonna have to start rephrasing that question. I'll be like, if you could have dinner with any three people, dead or alive, not named Steve Irwin, who would it
yeah,
be?
just not, yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna let you slide, but going forward, it's we're gonna call it the myriad.
Fine with me. I'm gonna have to write that down every time because I've been asked that a bunch, and my mind blanks. Like people are like, "What's your favorite actor?" And I'm like, "I don't know any." The last movie that I watched, that one. My mind just goes absolutely blank. I don't know.
All right, so who are the other two?
I can't think of anybody else. And as soon as that's why I like live sometimes because people are like in the comments and I can kind of cheat. I'm like, oh yeah, that person. I agree.
Yeah, that's it.
Like any I don't know. Yeah, see, my mind's just not here now. It just left. Like that's it.
I'm the same way. Like if somebody put me on the spot, because I
Yeah.
actually got put on the spot one time with this question. And I was
Hmm.
like, oh shit, I should have an answer to this. And I had to think about it for a second, right?
Yeah.
And I came up with an answer, but on the spot, it is kind of hard. I give you that 100%.
I
Yeah,
would
but
I
going
would
forward though, like you gonna get like a recurring shout out with the myriad edit.
tag me. I don't care. And I'd say the other one, since I don't even know the person, is the first human being to find a Bolin's python. I would definitely love that for sure.
Oh,
So
nice.
that's my favorite species.
So So real quick, we're gonna do a supplemental question here. So you spoke on the Bolins a couple
Mhm.
times. So talk a little bit more about the Bolins and what attracts you to the Bolins and kind of how you got into those.
Definitely the mystery of the species itself. Breeding them has been next to impossible for a lot of people, and just the overall attempt that the industry has gotten into to be able to repeat the husbandry that they come from, which is so difficult to mimic. And I've seen it work.
Where are they from? Like, what's their native
New
habitat?
Guinea.
New Guinea. Okay.
Yes. They breed and they have their babies under the trees in New Guinea. And
Okay.
I some like if you ever have the chance, read Serpents in the Clouds because it is the best
Serpents
book.
in the cloud.
It's by Ari Flegel. I don't know if I ever say his last name right, but it's one of my favorite books about Bolins, and he is like the Bolin person to go to if you have any questions about it. Uh,
Okay.
uh, he goes into huge depth about like because he's traveled there a bunch of times and has recorded temperatures and everything else that you could do, and it's so hard to mimic all of that. And so it's been a huge goal of mine to kind of recreate a really nice enclosure that is really close to something like that. And I know everybody has that dream and all that, and you can kind of up talk it, whatever. But I just really want to buy a house where I can just build this insane enclosure for it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Bolins are very mysterious animals, and um my like want for knowledge or goal for knowledge on things probably is what drives me so much to learn more about them because they're so out there and not a lot is known about them.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. Yeah. I could definitely see the mystique and the challenge.
Yeah.
Definitely being something that draws you to it.
Oh yeah.
100%. All right. And so this one should be fairly straightforward.
Okay.
If you won $10 million tomorrow, how would you use it?
No. Uh, I'd I'd build a house and that enclosure.
You gonna do that enclosure? I
Yes.
figured that's where you're gonna go with it too. 100%. Yeah. Nice. What else would you do?
Uh, that is a good question. I would say play catch up on all of the things that I have wanted to gift to people. I have a whole list of things, and of course, people say that money isn't the answer to everything, but it definitely friggin' helps. So, there's a million things that I got on my list. I would definitely say a big part of that would be investing. So that's a smart thing
Nice.
to do, right?
Oh yeah, hell yeah, 100%,
Mhm.
100%. And then one last wrap up question before we let you get out of here. What's one question that you wish I would have asked you, and how would you have answered that question?
I think that the question, but like before I got on here, I'd say that I kind of wanted to touch on the part that I love the most about the hobby, and I think I got to touch on that pretty well. So I don't think there was a question that I really wanted you to, or that I had thought of that I wanted you to ask. But I really like talking about the part of the hobby that I really like, and getting to talk about the people that I like the most and why I go to the shows and why I do what I do. And my favorite part, which is the educational aspect of it all. So I think you touched
Nice.
pretty well on that.
Nice. Yeah, that's pretty dope. That's pretty dope. I want to get into some more educational stuff. My wife's a teacher, and so like last school year, she took the snake to school, like showed it to the kids and stuff. And we're gonna do more of that kind of stuff. And we got some people that do some educational stuff around here, and they're trying to get more into it. But yeah, that's dope. Because it is facts over fear, right? And so like, especially like with kids, because kids aren't like as scared as adults are of
That's
stuff
the best.
because exactly. Like they're so open, like they're willing to learn, whereas adults, like they're stuck in their ways. And so if you can catch them as kids, you can give them some facts and you can kind of get in the way of like that fear starting and that fear doesn't compound year over year over year over year, then that's doing a ton for the hobby. That's doing a ton for the industry. That's just doing a ton for these animals in general and their livelihood because it's the adult that are out there making this legislation that says, hey, you got to turn in your iguanas and we're going to put them down. It's the adults that are making all this legislation that doesn't make sense. It's not the kids. And it's these adults that don't understand. But if they understand at a very young age, that's huge. It's just going to pay dividends for everyone involved over time, but most importantly, the animals. So, dope. That's super dope.
Yeah.
Super dope. Cool. All right. So, tell everybody where they can find you on social media.
Pretty much everything except for I never really post on TikTok, but Instagram I am the most active on for sure. Facebook I'm on there, on my personal page for sure. Instagram just gets reposted to Facebook, but then I have my website as well that I haven't updated in a while because I suck. But yeah, Instagram, just do that one. Personal
Nice.
MSB Reptiles.
Nice. So, Mira, I appreciate you coming on the show tonight. This has been amazing. I appreciate you taking time. I know it's early in the week, and it really worked out, like because I didn't want to ask somebody to come live on a Thursday on Thanksgiving. I was like, I can't do that. So, like having someone who's willing to come on an off day, it really worked out perfectly. I'm glad it worked out for both our schedules. I've been looking forward to it. This has been super dope. Really appreciate you coming on. Like I say, I personally work with Ultramel, but from afar, I'm like admiring some of the stuff with Monarch, and I see some dope stuff like my homie Jaffrey from Jaffrey Exotics. Like we firmly team Ultramel. He'll be ashamed of me even saying this, but I do see some Monarch stuff that I like, and so and I've seen a lot of the stuff you've been doing. So definitely. Appreciate you coming on. It's been great, 100%. Great conversation, great vibes. It's been dope, super dope.
Thank you so much for having me on.
No problem. And everybody that is checking out the recording of this, appreciate you coming out. Appreciate all of the support. Appreciate all of the ongoing support. It's been great. Really appreciate y'all coming out every week, leaving comments in the chat, keeping us company, all that good stuff. So again, thank y'all for coming out. Make sure you're supporting US Art and US Art Florida. Both of those organizations are fighting for our rights. Anything else you want to say before we get out of here? All right. Well, thank y'all for coming out. Be blessed. Peace.